Fireball Roberts won the very first NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race here in 1960. This Sunday, race number 100. Trackside Live here to celebrate the present and the history.
This is the day of the Atlanta 500-mile Grand National Race. And the race is on with a flying start.
Grand National Stock Car Racing, NASCAR style. Bobby Allison running at A.J. Foyt. Bobby Allison has the lead.
And as they cross the start-finish line, I think it's too close to call.
They come toward the line. Who will it be? It is Ford got loose. It's Harvick. Harvick wins. Harvick by inches.
What could be more fitting? What could be more special?
Ford got the advantage.
And Friday night is here. Time for our party/television show. Great crowd here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Fantastic weather. Glad you're with us at home. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and a three-time winner here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, DW.
I'm going to say something that I haven't said here for a long, long time. Could you pass me some sunscreen, please?
Hey, and we are in
It is
Atlanta.
nice. It is
You
nice.
believe it?
Unbelievable. Look at this. Sunshine.
But you know what's
Blue sky.
what's unbelievable was watching some of that footage there that we were fortunate enough to be able to call several of those finishes that were that close here at Atlanta.
The racing here, for whatever reason, I mean, the finishes have been phenomenal. That deal with Carl Edwards and Jimmy Johnson, well, even back to the race we did, one of our first races here with Kevin Harvick.
Yep.
That, I mean, I think I cried. The time that race ended until we went off air, I don't think my eyes ever dried up. I mean, I just crying from the jubilation of Harvick winning that race.
Again, when you're saying it, the emotion this place brings out.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been so many great races. I mean, there's been races that have been won and not decided till several hours later because of discrepancies in scoring. I mean, there's always excitement. There's always, the unexpected seems like it happens here at Atlanta, and you can't predict it. You couldn't even predict the weather this weekend. It's going to be this great. But anybody that's not here, I guarantee you, they're going to miss a great, great, great race.
Well, I've got a little announcement for you boys.
What's that?
Go ahead, bring it on.
See the new logo in front of the set here?
Yeah.
We
did
have a new
notice that.
partner.
All right.
Happy about that.
Oh,
Glad to have Shell on board as a new
does that
presenting
include
sponsor.
Kevin Harvick?
At some time it will.
Okay.
But that's
All right.
you know what? I mean, that's the only gasoline I'll buy. That they got that special chemical in their gasoline.
Whoa.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
still using those free cards that Kevin Harvick gave you, too,
Well,
by the way.
that had a little something to do with it.
If it's free, it's for Darryl.
That's right. But that gasoline they have it's the best on the market in my mind.
It
I
is
use
good
it in all
stuff.
my cars.
Well, you ought to know that. You own a car dealership, so you
that's
should
it.
understand what's necessary.
Shell stations are the best.
All right.
Well, this is what we're going to call our Shell Garage segment of the show, and Kyle Busch wins again, but we spin it forward now to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and a year ago here, the drivers were not so happy about the tire, but we did a tire test. Greg Biffle loved it. Juan Pablo Montoya loved it.
Why did you sugarcoat that?
What did I say wrong?
Well, I don't know, but it was a fiasco.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was a
Debacle.
disaster.
We had a
It
lot
was
of
a
that.
disaster.
They hated it. Only the person liked it was the guy that won it.
And I'm not sure he really liked
He
it.
didn't, Larry. That was the thing was he had his hands full all day long. But what you're bringing out, Steve, is true. They've learned from their mistakes. They've come back here with the tire test. And I think right now guys are a lot more comfortable basically back the way Atlanta used to be.
Well, what's happened, guys, is it's like we were talking today. This car has evolved. From the time this car hit the racetrack to right now, that's a totally different race car. It looks the same as the first car we ever had, but the teams have learned so much about these cars. And Goodyear had to learn how to make a tire for this car.
Right.
I tell you one of the problems they've had in my mind, they try to make the same tire work on a truck, on a nationwide car, and on a cup car. And I think that's the mistake they were making is make the tire work on the COT. The other cars have enough downforce. nationwide in a
And
truck
they can
that they
adapt.
can adapt
They
to
can
it.
And that's what
Yeah.
they're doing here because the Camping World Truck Series is actually running a different tire combination than the Sprint Cup cars. But what's amazing, that was a year ago here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Talking about tires, I've got to go back to last week. The same results. Kyle Busch goes to victory lane, but I've got to say, when you think about a year later, we had a disaster at Las Vegas a year ago for the most part with the tire situation there. That was an awesome race tire, and I think that's one reason we had all those different strategies at the end of the race, especially with Clint Boyer and Shane Wilson staying out there trying to win it. But when it was all said and done, what did he say? Good night, Gracie.
Yeah, you know, what I liked about the tire at Vegas, I think that was the best marriage of tire, track, and car that I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah.
Those tires were fast. Listen, we set a track record with a COT car.
12 cars broke the other one,
So
yeah.
you know that the tires are fast.
Right.
The question I had when the race started, are they going to last?
And they
Man,
did.
they lasted fine, and they lasted all the way through a gas run. You didn't have to worry about changing them. So that was the best marriage of tires, car, and track I've seen in quite a while.
And Steve, I think you'll be able to say that when we leave here this weekend, everybody's going to be a lot happier with what was
no
brought
question.
back as far as the tires are concerned. The rest of it, I can't guarantee you, but I think the tires will at least be one of the elements will be eliminated.
Well, so far, so good. It looks like we're going to have great racing. As DW said, great weather. Who's on tonight, you asked? Our Advanced Auto Parts Who's On schedule shows us it's Ricky Carmichael, David Rudiman, and when we come back, the winner of this race in 2006, Casey Kane.
Trackside is presented by New Shell Nitrogen Enriched Gasolines. Brought to you in part by Ask.com. Get the answers to all your racing questions at Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR. And by Go RVing. Visit GoRVing.com for a free video. What will you discover? Go RVing.
The driver of the Budweiser Dodge, Casey Kane, went to victory lane for the first time in May of 2005. Since then, he's gone on to win 9 NASCAR Sprint Cup races. And welcome the driver of the Budweiser Dodge to Trackside Live, Casey Kane.
There he is. Hey, partner. Yeah, long time no see.
Yeah.
We went on a little excursion last night. I tried to run with the young boys last night. I wasn't doing too good a job.
I was going to say, Casey, did he behave himself?
Look at it. But he did. He took
left
care of it. He took care of DW. Look at that.
Got your
DW left a
helicopter
little early,
ride?
though.
Yeah,
How come your name wasn't on the sign?
I don't
Dale?
know. I didn't see. It's the first time I've seen the sign. What gives?
Hey, did you go out honky-tonking?
I went over to Wild Bill's last night, and I ain't talking about Elliott either. No, we had a lot of fun, didn't we, buddy? That was
Yeah,
a
it
great
was-
show.
it
Did
was
you
a
stay
great
for the
time.
whole? Did you stay for the concert?
We stayed. We got back here about midnight, so we stayed for the whole show. Dirks is a great entertainer.
Oh, yeah, he
put on a
is.
good show. The crowd was awesome. Everybody was excited and having fun.
A
And
lot of people over there?
Yeah,
Yeah, they had a
huge
good turnout.
crowd. I don't know. The place was full. They said it holds 5,000 or something. It was packed. It was fun. Me and Casey and Elliott Sadler, and then Dirks did his concert.
Yep.
We had a lot of fun.
yeah, it's nice when you can get have a fun show like that and a good entertainment, good time. The fans came and supported it, and I mean, we enjoyed it, and we raised money for underprivileged and chronically ill children for our foundation,
Fantastic.
which is great for Make-A-Wish or Ronald McDonald House Charities, whatever that money may go to. It's always pretty nice to see a smile on some kids' faces.
That is great. So you got back at midnight. You got back about 8.
I did.
He was probably about 8:45.
It was right at 9. I told him, I said, I got to be home by 10 now. He took good care of me.
Casey, we're 3 races in, and you had a good run at Vegas. Where are you guys in terms of performance, where you want to be, where you can be?
We're actually I think we've had 2 really good results. The last 2 weeks have been awesome for where we were running, where the car was, and this week, today in practice, I felt like we made more gains to our Budweiser Dodge, which was nice to feel, to hit the track and feel the front being a little more positive. So it's just, I think it's time, just testing as we go here. It's not, we can't go and test anywhere, so we're kind of doing it as we go, and hopefully we hit on something here real soon, and we can be in that top 10 and go for wins.
I got a question. Okay, I know you did this concert with DW last night, but whatever led you to get in an octagon with my man Jeff Hammond here and those two wild other human beings that we saw in Las Vegas?
Last week, that was, they asked me.
What did the guy tell Jeff? It's not shot class, take the glasses off?
Take the glasses off, yeah. Jeff was ready. He showed up in a little bit different outfit than I think they were ready for, but it was a good time. Myself and Jeff, David Rudiman was also with us, and we had a good time. Those guys are they're so.
Look at this big dummy.
Crazy.
Oh, God, that had to hurt right there.
Casey Hammond said those guys like the taste of their own blood.
Yeah, they don't mind it.
No.
Hey, in all seriousness, I wouldn't want to fight him with a baseball bat, would you?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do anything. Like, if they said just 1 second, I'd be no way. There ain't a chance, because they could take care of you in 1 second.
Now, those two guys, are they on a team with each other, or do they actually fight each other?
No, they
fight each other.
Yeah. And it's kind of, it's different. It's kind of, I guess it's like racing. Most of the drivers get along.
Yeah.
But that's different, because you go and, just beat someone head in or whatever it may be, and they're still actually, they're sitting there hanging out, kind of. I don't know if they're buddies, but they don't.
Hey, I'll tell you what was funny is when he first got there, he walks up and he looks at me and says, "What am I doing here?"
Yeah. But we're a lot smarter than they are. We kick each other's butt. I'm going to kick your butt. But those guys want to bash your head in.
Well, see, when Hammond comes up with something like that, Darrell and Steve and I have a saying, we don't have a good feeling about that.
I don't feel good about this.
It's that whatever part that makes me nervous. Yeah. All right. More with Casey Kane coming up to locate campgrounds near Atlanta, near Bristol. Visit GoRVing.com. You'll also find virtual RV tours, free DVDs, and RV dealer and rental locations in your area. Back at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, Trackside Live is presented proudly by Shell. Jeff Hammond, Larry McReynolds, Steve Burns, and Darrell Waltrip hanging out with Casey Kane.
Casey, how much? I know that you've got an auction that you're going to auction off a motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
That the Orange County Choppers built for you.
Yeah, we're going to auction that off at Infineon is when I actually pull the name out during that race that Sunday. So if you go to 800 or you call 1-800-870-RACE, and then it's $9 a ticket, and some lucky fan's going to win the bike. So it's a really nice bike.
I don't know why you want to ask a question like that. You won't ride a motorcycle anyway.
No, that's the next thing he wants me to do is ride to a concert with him.
Ride to a concert?
Yeah.
Well, I went to Sturgis last year. Have you ever went to Sturgis?
I know about it. The only Sturgis I ever went to was in Kentucky, but anyway.
You need to try that one. You need to try the real Sturgis. That was a good time. There's lots of riding up there.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a good feeling about that.
It didn't look like something I would enjoy.
You haven't gone yet, have you?
Casey, tell us about it, Atlanta. I mean, you've won here before, but in recent races, I mean, you've kind of struggled. What makes this place so challenging? I mean, what?
Last year we just couldn't get our car to get in the racetrack at all. I was spinning out every lap, every corner, the front straightaway. I about spun out, numerous times throughout the race, and I don't know why that was. If it was tire pressure or just the way the car was set up or whatever. But both races here last year, those were probably my two worst races that I never hit anything. It was just a clean race car and that slow.
How about the new tire? I mean, is it better?
I felt like there was a little bit more grip today. I felt, it seemed similar to last year, the way the car drove, but it was in the racetrack a little bit better, and that's a gain because, last year's tire was crazy to race on.
Casey, this is your 6th full-time season at Gillette Evernham, which is now Richard Petty Motorsports, and as far as seniority, you're the senior member there. You have seen a lot of changes.
Yeah.
But to me, the biggest change that you probably...
29, for heaven's sake.
The biggest change that you have observed is the guy that pretty much brought you in there. Ray Evernham is just not around a lot now, it looks like.
Yeah, he's basically the reason why I was in the Cup Series in 2004 and the opportunity that I've had here. So, it's different not to have Ray around. It's... to me, it's not as good. I think he was definitely benefited myself, my team, and he was good for us. But he's kind of doing his own thing. We're still trying to get these cars going, and it's nice to see Richard around. He's been fun. He's been good to talk to. You see him every morning, every time the race is over. He's one of the first guys to the car, so it's pretty cool.
Casey, let's talk a little bit about your other racing endeavors. And, you know, you started in short tracks, and
Right over there.
it is. We're looking right into the sun.
Here, I'll help.
Give us some sunscreen, Daryl.
It's
Give
an
us some
eclipse.
sunscreen. A little sunscreen.
This is sunscreen right here behind me.
But a lot of people maybe who don't follow this sport as closely, you're involved in other racing as well. You've got your own shop. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's been fun because when I grew up, I really was all about World of Outlaw racing, sprint cars, dirt racing. That's what I wanted to do, and you know, my opportunities, the things that happen, whether it was Lewis and the midgets, or this mic's getting a little crazy on me, but whatever it may have been, we ended up in NASCAR, and I love what I do now, but I'm still able to have those teams, and that's kind of how I get my World of Outlaw fix, my sprint car fixes, to have those teams. We got Joey Saldana, Craig Delansky, and Brad Sweets, the guy that drives our USAC sprints and midgets, and all three of them, those are probably the three of the best that you can find in any one of those series. So it's nice to have great drivers, good people working on the cars, and I still get to go to some outlaw races here and there and watch.
His brother works on his cars too. You know, he runs that deal.
Yeah, my brother works on them. My cousin Willie, since I started racing, Willie worked with me on my mini sprints, everything I did, and so he runs the teams. Cole, Justin, Kale, we have a bunch of employees.
You got a lot
now,
of your
but
family involved, not only in your race team, but all of your.
Yeah, that's how it's
racing.
always been. It's been nice.
And his sister last night, she organized that deal last night. It was absolutely perfect.
Yep.
The only person that maybe could hold a light to her be Van. Collie.
That's what she said. She said, I got to call Van and tell him thanks for letting Daryl come out, and thanks for Daryl coming and all that. So
She was a nervous wreck talking to Van all night long.
Wouldn't you be a nervous wreck?
We'll have more with Casey Kane, we promise, when we come back.
Trackside is brought to you in part by Wrangler, proud sponsor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
After missing a win in Daytona, Kyle Busch dominated at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana. Tomorrow, Kyle Busch and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series competitors are here in Atlanta. Things will get rowdy. The setup show starts at 1:30 Eastern here on Speed. And we're back now with Casey Kane, and as Gerald told us, his entire family works with him. Is that in your notes?
No, it didn't. No, but what is? Is it my turn?
No.
No.
Oh, it didn't?
No, you've been putting the time out.
But I
You're
got
in
I got a couple of really good questions.
You've been putting time out.
Man,
How about Larry?
Mess up one time, you know.
one mistake.
How about, do I have a question?
Yes, would you
Of course I've got a question. Are you kidding me?
Well, ask it.
All right, I will. Besides the break with Ray Evernham, probably one of your biggest breaks was in 2000 when Steve Lewis, who at one time fielded cars, I think, for Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon, called you to drive his USAC and in the Silver Crown Series. And actually, I think your teammate at that point was Ryan Newman. Is that right?
No, actually, Ryan didn't drive for Steve. Ryan was just kind of making his way to drive for Penske at the time. And Jason Leffler was kind of going to drive for Gibbs. And I was the lucky one that got to drive for Steve.
That was a huge break.
Yeah, that was a huge break to drive for Steve, work with Bob East. That was like kind of my breakthrough year was 2000 in midgets. We won a bunch of races. I also drove for Gary Zeroni that year in the Silver Crown, and my dad in the sprint car stuff. So it was a fun year. I think I raced 104, 106 times that year.
How many races did you win, you think?
I think I won 19 that year.
Well, are you gonna go back? I mean, got any plans to run any races this year? I mean, are you allowed to go and run some open wheel races?
I raced Las Vegas, the dirt track, in a midget, and I was actually just taking the lead on like lap 22, and a caution came out, and my left rear tire went flat. So we had a pretty good race out there. And other than that, I'll do hit and miss, sprint car, midget, some find races to do. I enjoy it. I still do 8 to 10 a year.
You know, you won the pole and the race here in 06. You won the race from the pole, which only been done like 10 or 12, 13 times. And today you're 6th quick in practice. And we were talking last night about the new Dodge nose and even the new, do you have the new engine?
No, we don't have the new engine yet.
But you're going to.
Hopefully someday we'll have it.
Yeah. Do you
We'll see.
Do you think there's any advantage to having that engine?
I've been around the Penske cars lately, and their engines are running better than our engines, and their cars are handling really well too. They've done a lot of work, it seems. Their Dodges look really good, and we're a little bit off that, but I felt pretty good in practice today. It was probably the best that we've been so far this year in practice, and I go out 8, so I'm hoping that sun keeps going down.
Yeah, let's see.
We'll go out pretty soon.
No, you've got an hour yet. So
Okay.
okay,
Should be all right.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Casey, you grew up in Enumclaw, Washington, you know, the Pacific Northwest. For you, do you miss that part of the country, or do you like living in the Carolinas? I mean, how does that work for you?
You know, I have a lot of my family lives in the Carolinas now, and I still see my friends once in a while. The part that I miss now is probably the friends. You know, I don't see them quite as often. But, you know, when I first moved to Indiana and then North Carolina, I used to go home 8 times a year, 10 times a year just to get back there as much as I can. And now I'm down to about 2. So it's changed. I've taken North Carolina. I really like the state. I like where I live and the people and things. It's been really nice. So I don't get back to Enumclaw as much. I was there last week. You know, being on the West Coast, I always seem to make it home. But other than that, it's calmed down a lot.
Well, Casey, you talk about that. How about when NASCAR was looking at that part of the United States to possibly put in a NASCAR track? You know, a lot of talk. Nothing ever really happened. I mean, you know.
Yeah,
Why?
I made a few trips out there. I know Greg Biffle did, and some of the other racers, whether it was Iro or Daryl. I was with Daryl. Yeah.
That's right. You forgot he went with you.
I remember.
I sat by him.
Yeah, we went to the Tacoma Dome. That was a good time.
That's cool.
But it just never happened. I don't know if the land, it being in the wrong spot or whatever it may have been, tax money. I don't know how it all works, but it didn't happen. I hope it happens someday because I think you'll get a lot of good people from not just Washington, Canada, Idaho, California, Oregon. I mean, there's a variety of people that would come to that race, and it would be awesome to be there right below the Cascade Mountains, close to Mount Rainier.
When I went with him, or I went with him, and we went
together.
We did an autograph session. You'll love this. And so I've got a lot of really nice fans waiting to get an autograph, maybe 10 or 15. He's got a line that goes out of the building. We're in some dome. It went out of the building, around the dome, and back into the parking lot. And every one of them was about 17, 18 years old. And all of them were just in there going, "Oh, I just love you, Casey."
That was hard for you to deal with, wasn't it, Daryl?
It was. Me and my 3 fans, we sat there and watched the whole show, you know. I said, what's going on anyway? You've got a lot of good fans, though. A lot of young fans.
Yeah, I do. It's been awesome to have the fans that we have. It's been a lot of fun.
Casey, the Budweiser on your shirt. I mean, that is one of the longest sponsors that's been around the longest in our sport. Daryl drove under the Budweiser banner. I mean, there has to be, I would say, a little bit of pressure that comes with Budweiser being on the side of that race car when you look at the drivers that's driven under that banner.
Yeah, for sure, and not just in NASCAR, but in other sports and other racing series, sports. They're involved in everything. So, yeah, to me, to make them happy, make them proud. There's so many great Budweiser people that I've met over the last couple of years, and it's been fun. To me, it's by far my funnest sponsor. We have every time we do something, we enjoy it and have a good time.
Engine number 9.
He has to leave now. Are you going to go with him? I didn't realize you guys were that tight.
No, we don't. He didn't bring the helicopter tonight.
Daryl only goes if we have a helicopter and an airplane.
That's right.
All right.
I don't have a lot of high standards, but that is a couple of them.
That's a good one.
I don't know if it's his standards or Van standards.
Yeah. Casey, thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we'll have David Rudiman. Right now, it's time for the Ask.com racing question, the official search engine of NASCAR. Question is, what is the car of tomorrow? If you want the answer, go to Ask.com, where NASCAR fans go to get answers. Ask.com, the official search engine of NASCAR.
Welcome back to Trackside Live at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're showing you a little different part of Trackside this evening. I'm sitting backstage where I've caught up with David Rudiman and Ricky Carmichael. Have you guys met before? This is David Rudiman.
Yeah.
Ricky Carmichael?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We call him the GOAT. Do we call you GOAT or the GOAT or just?
Everyone, all my buddies call me RC, but I don't think that's really worthy in this, since the real RC in this deal is Richard Childress. So.
Do you feel like we're buddies that we can, though, if Richard Childress isn't there, that you and I can call him RC?
I think we can be comfortable.
Okay,
calling
cool.
him RC.
This is exciting. This is back where when the guys get here, they kind of hang out. Maybe they sign stuff. Like we got you.
Is this the green room?
I think this is a green
But
room.
it's not green.
It's not
at all.
green.
I expected much more green. I really
See,
did.
David, that's what I'm talking about.
Rutledge,
It's not green.
Rutledge.
Yes,
Rutledge. Hey,
We're
Can
real
we have
busy.
our guests, please?
Oh, you're ready.
up the
I'm
show.
sorry. Hey,
Gotta
they're
go?
ready for you to go on the
Okay,
show.
I'm up.
Go
All right,
for
here
it.
we
Rutledge, go polish Daryl's wheels and quit holding up the guests.
These fans better yell for David because he's got a bunch of lucky dogs he's going to throw out to the crowd.
Rudy, 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 Rudy.
Oh, man,
Come
you
on.
dropped it.
Hurry up. Rudy, 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 Rudy. Come on, man, let's go. Woo! I got a dog. I got a stuffed dog, and I got a real dog.
Oh, that's hurt. That's
Oh,
nice. That's
you
real,
asked for that
Yeah,
one.
real nice.
Yeah,
I'm
you
sorry.
did, uh-huh.
I didn't.
Lucky.
I probably had that coming. Didn't
You
I?
did after the coaching job you did on.
I think
me
I
and
did a
Casey
great. Did you
Kane.
guys see how good a job I did with coaching Hammond?
I like the way you stood back, hands off.
Exactly.
You know, no hands.
No hands.
No
None
hands.
of that. Those guys were. That's a pretty tough group of guys.
They were animals, weren't
I
they?
knew right away when I came in the door. I figured it was the
Game
managerial
on, yeah.
position was exactly where I needed to be.
You know what? You learned a lesson from driving for Darrell Walter, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Game on. Game
Yeah.
on.
Let somebody else fight your battles.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
You know, David, I was reading where you really, really work hard to earn the respect of the other drivers. What is Hammond doing?
I have no idea.
He's learning.
He's getting a
trying to
lot-
get the
he's out of
respect of a
hand,
TV announcer, but it ain't working.
Anyhow, you work hard to earn the respect of the drivers you race against. And you really, really felt bad after that situation in the door race with Ryan Newman. You called Ryan.
Still
And
do.
or you actually, I guess you went and found Ryan and you talked to him, but I guess you and Tony had some interesting text messages going back and forth.
Yeah, well, I mean, first thing I went over to, as they were unloading their backup car, I went over to talk to Ryan Newman, which is, probably one of the most unpleasant things I've ever had to do in my entire life. Ryan's a pretty big guy. He works out a little bit, I think. And, he was not happy at all. And so I walked right up in the middle of him and all his crew guys in the middle of having a thrash after I just destroyed his race car and just basically just told him that I just flat screwed up, which he knew already. I didn't have to tell him
And I
that.
think his interview pretty much.
Yeah,
No,
pretty much covered
it was the best name I ever heard anybody
That was,
call.
I
the
don't.
perfect name. Root a man right out of the way.
That's actually not the first time I've heard that.
Can I just inject here, David? I don't know what he said to you, but on TV he said, "Sorry, doesn't fix my race car." So go ahead.
Well, that's exactly what I told him.
But it is
And
pretty,
thanks for adding that.
pretty comical about you and Tony's text message.
Did you come up with that on yourself?
No,
Yeah,
he said that.
Oh, yeah, I
We're
understand
here
that.
for you.
I'll be your buddy.
I appreciate
Okay,
it because I
I'm
have
right here
none
with
right
you,
now.
Coach. Okay,
And, so anyway, I went over there, and obviously he didn't fix his race car, and he wasn't happy, and I didn't expect him to be happy. But I feel like I needed.
What
to
did
go
he
over
say?
there. He didn't ask me to dinner, and he didn't yell at me or really he didn't hit me, which was a good thing. I thought maybe that was going to come. But,
Yeah, he didn't hit you.
Yeah,
It's a
but
good
anyway, getting back to that, so I left there as quick as I possibly could, and I went over to try to find Tony Stewart and couldn't find him, so I text messaged him, basically apologized for wrecking his race car because he's a car owner now and he has to pay for all that.
Here it is, right
Let's
here.
watch this here. So
Yeah,
you got it.
geez, that's just a bad move on my part. I mean, there's no no sugarcoating. I just flat blew it.
Yeah.
And I told the guys, I said, I'm not going to touch nobody until I know how to do it right. And I'm still trying to stay from. Here's Ryan. He was just, obviously not really all that thrilled with me. And I wasn't all that thrilled with me at that point either. But
I think he was saying, meet me at Aaron's.
I
that's
think
what
he
was
wanted to
saying.
go look at
Yeah.
some quality merchandise at Aaron's, and
I
he just
think
wanted
so.
me to take him to the closest store. But anyway, I texted back and forth with Tony Stewart. Tony said, no problem, bud. I'll send you a bill for the wrecked race car. And I actually sent him my address because at that point in time, I definitely would have paid for it. Tony Stewart is just a remarkable individual. Was super to me and told me basically he appreciated me getting with him and kind of get things out there. And he's been awesome to me every time I've ever gone to him. So I don't know why I expect anything different.
Don't think about it.
Why?
It's not your turn.
I'm just going to say,
you're
did you feel
running
like
it.
a lucky dog about that time?
I felt like a very lucky dog at that point.
So, what is it like? Now, I've known you for the last 4 or 5 years. The most money you'd ever made in any season, I think you told me, was $40,000.
It was actually 30.
$30,000.
And that was a really good year.
And that was a big
Then you
year
went to
for
drive for Darrell and took a pay cut.
Yeah, then we
No, but he got to keep all the.
Did
he
you
got
have to
keep
give
all
him
the
that 40 to go
trophies.
drive for him?
He got to keep all the trophies.
I had to pay him. I had to pay DW to
But
drive.
so, what's it like these days being David Ruderman? What's the big change in your life from when you were back there making that 30 grand a year to making $3 million a year now?
Really, the main difference is when I go to the gas pump, instead of putting $5 in, I can fill up the tank. Other than that, not much has changed. I'm still as cheap as I ever was.
You got a Shell card too?
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't have a Shell card.
Daryl's got plenty. Go borrow
You
one
got
from him.
is that the corporate?
I'm the man. I'm your man.
But so I mean, I'm still the same person I've always been. I think obviously doing having a remarkable job. Probably one of the luckiest guys on the planet, because things like this don't normally happen to guys like me, to be quite honest. And I feel very blessed. First of all, DW gave me the opportunity, and then kind of going on from there. And I was transferred from one Waltrip brother to the other. And DW said, "I can't take him anymore. Michael, you take him."
Did he ever give you that watch he owed you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
DW hooked me up. Matter of fact, he gave it to me on Trackside at Martinsville.
But do you still wear it?
Absolutely.
You hadn't hawked it yet?
No, not
Okay.
yet. No, I would never get rid of that. That's one of the coolest things I've ever gotten from anybody.
There are 2 drivers that have finished in the top 15 in 3 races this year. Jeff Gordon's one. Name the other one.
David Rudiman.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
That's it.
We'll be
That's on
back
the
with David Rudiman when we come back. I want to let you know, still tickets available here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for this weekend. 1-877-926-7849. Come on down and see us. Glad you're back with us. Trackside Live is presented by Shell. As DW said, past the sunscreen. Beautiful weekend here just south of Atlanta, Georgia, and hanging out with David Rudiman.
Tell us about your crew chief, Rodney Childers. Seemed like you 2 guys have all of a sudden got on the same page, and it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a great job. I mean, not only Rodney, but everybody on the team's doing a great job. But Rodney's the type of guy, if you can't get along with him, you probably got issues of your own you got to work through, because he's real quiet, he's laid back, and I think at California, we had a brake issue, and I come on the radio, and I was all spun out and crazy and yelling, and he's like, 10-4, man, we'll get you fixed up. I'm like, okay, well, he doesn't get too excited, does he? But he does a great job, very deliberate in the changes. I mean, you come in, you tell him what the car's doing, and he makes a change on it, and generally makes it better.
Sounds like me and you, Larry. Just
Absolutely.
nice and calm,
Yeah,
handling fresh.
same
and
exact
calm.
way.
Cool collective under extreme conditions.
A lot of similarities.
Do you still have that 30-year-old pony that you bought from Michael Waltrip?
Thankfully, yes. I actually didn't buy it from Michael Waltrip, but I actually got scammed into buying it by Michael Waltrip. And
a 30-year-old pony.
Yeah, I thought ponies were baby horses.
No, pony's is a pony.
It's a little horse.
It's a little horse.
Little horse.
Jeez.
Do you mind asking
come on.
what do you do with this 30-year-old pony?
I don't do anything. My daughter rides it. I don't think horses are dangerous. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
From a guy wearing Nomex.
Not at 30 years old.
You get the irony? He's wearing Nomex. Horses are dangerous.
They are. I just think it's something very safe, like what I'm doing. Because I mean, the only broken bone, thankfully, I've had to this point has been I broke my arm, and I playing basketball in high school. So I decided right away basketball is much too dangerous for me. So I decided to race, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Makes
logical.
sense.
What were you thinking that day you were sitting in the track at Texas and Bobby Kennedy stuck his head in the window?
Well, I wasn't thinking a whole lot, because I was kind of coming out of a fog there after I tried to knock the fence down. But yeah, at that point, racing didn't seem all that safe. But it's as good as you can make it, and I've been blessed to be able to do what I love. And yeah, it's you take the good with the bad. Sometimes it's good for you, and sometimes you leave with a headache.
Yeah, he said he looked at Bobby Kennedy. He said, "Boy, NASCAR's going to be mad. Bobby's out there in the middle of the racetrack."
I didn't know I was against pit wall.
So how about the car ownership or the sponsorship of old Buzzy's car, your dad Buzzy? Are we still doing that for the dirt?
How
dirt track?
dangerous is that?
That is more dangerous than what I do. Let me tell you about my old man. He has managed to absolutely try to get every dime I've ever taken from him back in the span of about 2 years.
But he's still racing, right? How old is he?
He's, I believe, depending on what day you talk to him, he's 67 or 68, depending on which day he did it. And he's having a great time. He ran good during speed weeks there. Ended up actually completely riding off a nice brand new race car that Brian Patty and I had done for him during the off season. So now I have to fix my car, which I drive every once in a while, send it down there so I can get his car. I can finish his car. He can be racing my car. Then I get my car back in what condition I have no idea. And then he gets a new car.
Yeah.
And so basically, this car owner deal, I'm not sure this is how Rick Hendrick started out.
You know what you call that when it comes to dad? It's called interest, son.
Yeah,
it's called interest.
I don't know what you call it. I call it different things on different days. But either way, we're having a lot of fun, and then that's all that matters, I guess.
But your dad, before we go to break, he's won like over 1,000 races. Is that correct?
Yeah, right in the neighborhood of 1,200 wins, and which he reminded me of today when I was complaining about how much money I was spending on him. He throws in like, well, "You're talking to a legend." That's like, what are you going to say to that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
But he's got his own Airstream machine that he runs on the dirt there, and we got him all set up. I'm going to get him a uniform, and he's got Lucky Dog on the hood and everything. So he's part of the team right now.
I'm going to have to remember that when I talk to Michael. But you're talking to a legend.
Trackside Live is presented by Shell. When we come back, DW, a legend, sits down with David Rudiman in the Lazy Boy Lounge. Stay with us. Thursday on an all-new Bull Run, what began as simple competition has grown into an intense rivalry. Disaster strikes when the teams push the limits of speed and strategy too far and too fast. This time, consequences are bigger than ever. Don't miss an all-new Bull Run with Bill Goldberg Thursday night, 10 Eastern, exclusively on Speed. Trackside Live, presented by Shell. To the Lazy Boy Lounge we go in DW.
Hey, you know, David, when we were talking about doing this, I thought I was going to do it with your old man, so I got these lazy boys. Because they'd be right at home in this bad boy.
Yeah, he'd like that for sure. But, yeah, I mean, don't give him any ideas. He'll be over here before the show's over with.
You know, you mentioned Brian Patty. You and he were like, did y'all go to high school together? Y'all were buddies? Y'all built cars together?
Yeah, he got his start working in our shop. He was actually a couple years behind me, a little bit younger than me. So I was out of high school, and he was actually coming over the shop and started working at the shop. And he's just a guy that, you know, was able to pick up on stuff and before we knew it, he was my crew chief and helping me build race cars and doing stuff like that. And we were racing all over the place, just a couple kids, basically.
He's not a good spotter, I can tell you that.
No, he's not.
No.
I think he's better suited to be on top of the pit box.
He was a spotter for David at the Daytona the first time we ran Daytona. And I didn't know Brian from anybody. And he kept telling David to go outside. I don't know. And I kept saying, I don't know who that spotter is, but I'm going to go up there and jerk him off at that spotter stand. He's going to get the boy wrecked. And so he didn't spot anymore after that. And he was a nervous wreck every time I saw him after that.
Well,
but he got you your first ride, I guess, NASCAR when he was working for Joe.
Well, he definitely helped with, I think he finally bugged Joe Nemechek enough where Joe said, all right, we'll take and run David in one race. And Joe Nemechek, gave me basically my first opportunity to go out there and run in the nationwide car. At Richmond, very first time, and a good friend of ours, Buddy Smith from Florida, he came up with the money to buy the car. Joe says, we'll take you and race you, but I'm not going to just put you in one of my cars. You're going to have to buy the race car because, if I went out and destroyed it, he didn't want to be out of a race car. So, again, Buddy Smith came up with the money. I didn't have the money, and give it to us, and away we went. We ran pretty good in that race, and kind of from that point on, I got, then later on down the road a little ways, Darrell Waltrip called me home, asked me to come drive for his truck team.
That was funny.
That was awesome. That was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had in my life.
And then you hear guys say that all the time. Oh, that wasn't Dale Earnhardt when he called Steve Parker. That wasn't Darrell Waltrip when I called you. Guys think people are playing tricks on them. But what I noticed about you was when we put you in the truck, you had a little bit of rough go to start with.
A little bit.
But, we had a little heart-to-heart talk, you and I did, and I told you were beating yourself. And these weren't 30-lap features. They weren't 100-lap features. They were longer races. We were at Dover, and you went out that day, and you were a different driver from that day on. You do take instructions very well.
Yeah, I mean, especially when they came from the boss. But, there was definitely days I wasn't really sure if I was going to be Darrell Waltrip's driver very long or not, because I was like, I went home a couple times. It's like, I'm going to get fired on Monday. I just know I am. And you stuck with me and gave me some good advice along the way, advice that I still use to this day. And, I think the single best advice I've ever gotten from anybody was don't beat yourself. And you told me that early on in the deal. So we'll keep trying to do that, not beat ourselves, and end up on the good side of this deal.
Yeah, we put a big sticker on his dashboard, don't beat yourself. And from that point on, he didn't. So, hey, stay tuned. We're going to go to a little break here. When we come back, we're going to have Ricky Carmichael. Thanks you, David Richmond, for being here. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Trackside is brought to you in part by Wrangler, proud sponsor of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans. Trackside is presented by New Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines. Brought to you in part by Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Comfort, it's what we do. And by Camping World. At Camping World, our lower prices and friendly service will make you a happy camper.
There's no Trackside show next Friday night, but in 2 weeks, 7 p.m. Eastern, Mark Martin will join us. Now, it's not every show, it's not every day you can introduce somebody as the greatest of all time, but when that applies to Ricky Carmichael, there is no doubt whatsoever. move to stock car racing, driving in the Camping World Truck Series, and please welcome him to Trackside Live.
Sit down here, young man. How are you, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see all y'all.
Thanks for joining us.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
I like the way you enter. You got to give stuff away, man.
That's right. I got to show my love to some of the NASCAR fans I got out here. I hope.
They like you a lot, I can tell.
Ricky, you got to tell the guys, you and I running each other down in the garage here earlier this afternoon. Tell them about what you think of the Atlanta Motor Speedway now that you've been on it.
Well, Kevin had me scared to death. And as soon as I said, every track I've been to, you say, you got to watch this, you got to watch that. But it ended up being not scary, it's hard. You know, it's a hard track to hit your marks every lap. And that's been the biggest challenge for me here today, but really enjoying it.
Well, I tell you, Ricky, the thing I was impressed with at Daytona, you had a good truck. You just got caught up in an accident. But we did the truck race, on NASCAR on Fox at Auto Club Speedway, and you really had a nice, solid run all day. That had to boost your confidence so much.
It absolutely did. You know, I mean, I'm racing against some good guys that have been doing it for a long time, and I was really happy. I made a little mistake there on pit road. I thought I had a right front going down, but I didn't. And it is what it is, but I was really happy at the end of the day flying home. I was like, man, that was awesome. So,
Ricky, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I did the introduction, you know, the greatest of all time. Tell the viewers, how many races did you actually win on two wheels and how many championships? It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I won. I had a great career. I won 15 major titles, and 17 actually to be exact. We count the lights class as a smaller one. We don't really count those, but 15 big boy classes, and it was a great career. Very, very fortunate, and I won 150 races.
Wow.
So it was pretty good, and there's a lot of bad ones in there too, but more better ones. I don't miss those days of wrecking, and what no one really got to see was, you know, we practiced Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and flew to the races on Thursday. So every time you're practicing, you was out there laying it all on the line, just trying to find those couple of tenths, man.
Last year, you drove in the Camping World E Series, and Kenny Schrader was your car owner,
Yeah.
and I had the honor of coming over to the Nashville Speedway, my home track, and being there when you guys were testing. One thing I noticed was your intensity. I mean, for a guy that hadn't driven these cars very much, I mean, you were in it. I mean, every inch. You wanted to know everything about that racetrack. Tell me where I'm messing up. Show me where I'm doing it wrong. You were really kind of hard on yourself, son.
All these guys say, man, you're so hard on yourself, you know, and this and that, but that's how I got to where I am today, you know, and I know when I'm leaving time out there, and you got me sick, man. You gave us so many rides around that thing.
I wouldn't quit.
He wouldn't quit, and he was telling us about this and that, man, and it was just so cool. And I ran fourth that night, and that old place is wore out.
Oh, it is.
But yeah, man, I just want to make it. You know what I mean? I ain't doing this to try it. I'm doing it to make it. You know?
Well, speaking of making it, you know, you're married. You got 2 kids. I mean,
Yeah.
what is the family? What does Ursula think about you going from one career? I mean, you retired from one, and here are you're jumping right back into another one.
She likes it, you know. It's just during the week I'm home so much more. You know, when I'd be home during the week motorcycles, I'd be gone all day practicing to the farm and stuff. So she likes it. As fast as we're going and everything, people say, "Oh, you're crazy doing this and that." Man, it's such a comforting feeling being strapped in, but you still have, you know, you still can go fast. You know?
I just was curious, and I don't know, but can you make a lot of money racing motorcycles?
Yeah, I was pretty fortunate. I really was. You know, the last 7 years, it really, really ramped up, and the guys are doing pretty good for themselves. The top guys, but to retire from it, you really have to win championships, because that's when the big bonuses and stuff come in.
Daryl, are you thinking about starting a second career?
I was going to sponsor him in the motorcycle race.
I'm done racing there.
Well, you guys got to go to the booth for qualifying. Ricky, come back and spend some more time with us, man. We enjoyed it.